Welcome to the Harjit and Prayer show with your host, Harjit and Prayer.
Hey, Prayer.
What up?
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah. So time to catch back on our shows again, huh?
I'm telling you, you abandoned me.
No, I didn't abandon you.
Whatever. I told you to get a hold of me, and you never did.
I'm busy.
Waiting every night for you to call, and
Yeah, you get lonely.
nothing. But anyway, but
Anyways, how's life treating you? And
pretty good. I found one thing out that I don't like about Florida, at least Gainesville. It's the mosquitoes. Holy cow. Yeah, and so like everything natural that I've tried has not worked. The only thing that has worked is of course DEET, which will kill you in other ways. So it's like, all right, what are we gonna do?
right.
So I've been inside more in the evenings, recording this outside, obviously, so I don't wake up the kids. And so they're out and about trying to get me and
What
stuff
about
like
those
that.
lights that zap them? You hang them. And,
Yeah, my parents said they got one for their house and that works really well, and so I'm going to look into that. The question is like, where on earth are we? Can we get it far away in our property from where we do everything that it would be effective, I guess.
right.
So yeah, but yeah, I grew up in New York where we lived. It was extremely swampy, and so we had a ton of mosquitoes out there.
Yeah.
But like bug spray worked. We had these coils that we would burn, and that they worked and stuff like that. But everything that we've done so far, trying to do the right thing and just using natural products and stuff like that. Just, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is yummy stuff.
Yeah. So
Whatever.
we have a pool, and it's especially when after it rains and stuff, but it's still pretty hot, and if you try to use a pool in the evenings,
Hmm.
and you're fine, below your neck, but then they're swarming your head, the mosquito.
Mosquitoes? Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
so you
horrible.
can't really use it, so you get you to come back in. You're like, but oh, you know,
Yeah, and these are like very like up in New York, if you slap the mosquito on your leg, it would die. These don't. They
yeah,
they just fly away and they come back at you. It's like what kind of steroids are you taking to
yeah. I
make
was
this
reading
happen?
a report from the Vermont, I don't know what do you call it, health or something like that department, and they were saying they found some of the mosquitoes tested positive for West Nile, not too far from where I live. I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah,
there you go.
that sucks.
That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, we got all sorts of nice stuff in our mosquitoes, including Zika. So we got to be really careful.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We knew coming into it would be like this, so no
So
regrets.
have you seen any alligators or snakes in your backyard?
There's a black racer in our backyard.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they're not venomous. They don't like people. They just stay away. They're scared. But I personally haven't seen it. My family has. And there's a couple places by us where you can go on hikes and stuff. Well, not hikes, but on a walk, and you can see alligators and stuff like that. It's pretty
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
Interesting.
and they're big, man. They're really. It's like, dude, that is huge. In fact, over Christmas, somebody's dog was eaten by one.
Oh my
It's a
God.
horrible. I mean, it was like when I read the story, I'm like, oh my God, that's so messed up. Like,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna live on the water, you have to be careful.
Well,
So,
what we're having in my hometown here in Milton, bears. So we're seeing a lot of bears that are coming out into people's backyards
oh no,
and getting
wow,
into bird feeders and compost and all that stuff. And yeah, there was one just like probably about 200 feet from my house. Someone
holy cow.
reported. I'm like, what? So we brought the dog back in real quick and stuff.
Sure, holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So hey, you and I have some good news. We're both going to Ignite.
Yep, it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, and I'm going to be a speaker, so I'm really excited about that. And
Hmm.
and we got our all our friends are going too this time. So
Yep,
and Henrik, Kenji, who else?
yep.
Stu,
Buddy Janesh and Francis.
Nash, Francis. Yeah. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah, I am not going to be a speaker, but I'll be listening to speakers
Oh yeah.
and yelling at the product team a lot of various products.
Aha.
So that's where I'll be spending most of my time
On
is
the
like,
expo floor.
yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
That'll be good.
anyway, yeah.
And
So
so today there was an announcement about the celebration,
hmm
attendee celebration.
right.
Um,
Going to be back at Universal Studios.
Yep.
Islands of Adventure, and Universal Studios, or is that the
Those
same?
two,
It's like
right?
the same thing. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same place as last year.
Yeah.
So, which was it was a yeah. I think you know if are the guest passes already sold out?
From what I saw, they were sold out. Yeah.
Oh, bummer, because I was gonna
Yeah.
say if you haven't, get one and bring a friend because that is so much fun.
Yeah,
Like
it is a lot of fun.
no lines really. I mean, if there's a line, it goes really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe the amount of food that we had. And we could just walk into any one of those restaurants and even on the walkways and stuff like that. They were set up with food and drinks
yep.
and oh my God.
Turkey legs,
Legs.
like huge turkey legs. Like that was amazing. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. We had so much fun. That was, and then there's more sessions the next day. So
Right,
it
right, on
was.
Friday. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but I guess over the next couple of weeks, we're going to give some tips to anybody that's listening about our experiences in Orlando last year and some changes we'll be making
Yeah.
um, because of
Yeah, so
that.
we're gonna do a sort of our own countdown kind of shows
Hmm.
leading up to Ignite. So we'll give out a lot of tips, like you said, and information, and people can ask us questions and stuff like that, and we'll try to get them that information on our shows, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you want to start with?
Let's talk about the weather.
All right, yeah, good one.
Yeah. So one thing I underestimated is that I knew that it was going to be hot. I knew that it was going to be humid. I didn't. I completely underestimated how hot and humid it was going to be.
Yeah,
So I had been in Florida for about 8 weeks prior to Ignite, and so I'd already acclimated. But what's different about Ignite is that you are doing a humongous amount of walking, and it's not all inside. You have to cross the various skyways to get to other buildings
yeah,
and stuff like that. You might be going across the courtyards and things like that, and so you're hitting this huge amount of heat, and that all that walking really zaps you badly. And
yeah.
so this year, I'm definitely going to be like dressing a lot lighter, bringing bringing no jeans because that's pointless,
Yeah, it's fine.
and just just nice t-shirts that can breathe a lot because my hotel last year was about a mile away, which is I don't think is far at all. I think that's a good amount because
Yeah,
then you can walk there in the morning. But when you're walking there at any time between 7 and 9, it's already hot out.
yeah,
And when I got to by the time I got to the Hyatt, which then you can use the Hyatt to cut across to the other places in air conditioning, I was completely drenched in sweat, and I had already gone through 20 ounces of water in my in my
yeah.
Ignite water bottle.
And now
And
you're
so
wet, and then you get into air conditioning. It's even, yeah,
yeah, and so I highly suggest to people to think about like if you're already used to this kind of weather, then you already get it. But especially if you're coming from cooler and drier climates, wear things that are going to really, really breathe. Wear a nice, comfortable pair of sneakers that you've worn in,
good
not
socks.
bought. Yeah, that not just a pair of shoes you bought a couple days before, but
Right,
nicely worn in.
wear them out.
And I would say keep at least two bottles of water on you if you're going to be. No, I mean not even if you're going to be walking a lot. Just keep them on you because you will go through it like
Yeah,
crazy. So, after a couple of days, I was like, okay, I just need to drink a lot more water. I need to definitely eat a better breakfast and stuff like that, and not just load up on carbs and stuff like that, which just zap your blood sugar right away. And so then I was like, okay, now I get it. But for the first couple of days, I'm like, what in the world? Why am I so tired? And da 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 da. It's
even
so
in the
that.
evenings, trying to get from Hyatt to some of the event locations like Miller's and and all the other places.
Hmm.
And that was a good walk.
Sure.
And by the time you get there, you're already soaked too. Just the
Yeah.
humidity is heavy there.
Yeah.
So keep that
And
in mind.
I know that for some organizations you have like requirements to dress a certain way. I would talk to your managers and say like, listen, this is a exercise conference. Like it's no kidding, man, because
Yeah,
even my best laid out sessions, the ones I really wanted to go to, completely different parts of the complex.
yeah.
And
I
so,
I was a speaker and a community reporter last year. So for speakers, they have some rules that you have to follow, and so you got to dress accordingly, stuff like that. And we had to wear the official T-shirts kind of a thing, right?
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's why you see that the speakers are all kind of uniform looking and stuff like that.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I had, so in between, so I would keep those shirts in one of those shirts in my bag when I knew I had a speaking engagement, and then switch over to something that's I was more comfortable in and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I didn't have a chance to wear shorts like that, but when I'm done for the day, go back to the room, throw my shorts on, then head out for the events and stuff. Yeah.
gotcha.
So that was another thing that I've learned, and I know you have too, from past conferences. You know, we tend to, if we don't, I recommend that we have a proper meal, at least one meal at the end of the day
Hmm.
before you hit any of the events, social events. Because what happens is everybody will say, oh yeah, it's, uh, you know, this party is starting at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever. Oh, they're gonna have food there. When you get there, it's always the finger foods, right?
Sure.
The little burgers or the little, cheese sticks and things like that. And that just doesn't do you
Nope,
justice.
not at all.
I think what we've learned is that we've taken the time and said, we're going to go out to a nice place. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a meal, and then we will go and join the activities.
Exactly.
So that's
So,
what we do.
yeah, yeah. So I guess that's our first tip
Yeah.
in a list of
So
many.
weather and how to dress comfortably and definitely get your shoes now and wear them and
Yeah,
break them in because that's important.
sure.
'Cause you don't want blisters and stuff like that, and don't wear sandals and slippers and stuff because
Oh, that's
you
just
are
stupid.
you're
Yeah.
asking for trouble.
My first tech ed
You were in
2012 in Orlando, I wore
Orlando?
sandals, and oh my God, it was horrible.
Yep.
Like I was like, I can't believe and that's the only thing I packed.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so this was like that was such a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
And it was funny, like I didn't take my own advice last year. I bought a pair of sneakers because we were still unpacking and stuff like that. I bought a pair of sneakers the day before when we went to the outlets and
Yep.
stuff. I'm like, oh wow, these are the sneakers I wear. I'm just gonna buy them. And I wore them like the first day, and I'm like, that was a stupid thing to do. And so I was wearing this old pair of sneakers that are just super comfortable, and I didn't care what
Yeah.
people thought anyway. So,
Yeah. It's
but yeah,
usually
it,
you have to worry about your own comfort, you know.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So what else are we are you like interested in some type of um, topics or sessions or technology this year?
Um, so I'm going to be very interested in all things Azure related, not a specific service. I really want to talk to the product teams and say, how are your customers actually using this? So yeah, you have all this stuff out there, but what problems are they solving with the things that you are basically introducing every day? And stuff like that. So I'm really interested in that. And there's a couple of pain points that I have in Office 365 that I would like to get hammered out
Okay.
with those product teams and stuff like that, just to see um, what the deal is. And of course, I really want to network hard this year with anybody in higher ed, see how they're doing things, what they're doing, how they're solving their problems, what their problems are, and stuff like that. So I'm going to make more of an effort of trying to reach that community
Yeah,
to
there's
kind of,
usually there's usually a meetup for
yep,
higher ed folks at every Ignite that I've known. I haven't been able to make it like all the way through, so I've attended I think one, but there's so much going on. But yeah, you can
sure.
definitely that's something you should join.
Yeah, and of course the session list isn't out yet, so I don't know what you know off of there I'd be interested in. But I know my goal is really to talk a lot to the product folks and get some of my questions answered
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, you get to learn a lot actually when you talk to
Hmm.
them. Yeah, that's what
Yep.
I got a lot of my value out of hanging out at the expo hall and just talking to different people and asking, well,
In the last year is I'm not interested in swag whatsoever. If it's useful for me, oh yeah, I could use a water bottle, and then somebody randomly gave me a USB powered speaker,
oh,
wireless speaker last year. I'm like, okay, thank you. Because I wasn't there for the swag. I was actually talking to them about a problem. And
right,
like, oh, by the way, here's this. I'm like, cool, thank you. But my girls were like, hey, did you bring anything back for us? And of course, I had like some little knickknacks from the Orlando tourist shops and stuff like. But they're like, that's it. I'm like, what do you mean that's it? My oldest is like, normally you have like lots of weird and interesting things that you bring home from Ignite. I'm
wow,
like,
okay.
I didn't think you were interested in that. And so this year I'm going to make more of an effort to get stuff
Yeah.
for them.
Oh,
So,
another tip for newbies to Ignite, those who haven't attended Ignite before, pack light. When we say pack light, not
oh
just
yeah.
light clothes. Like don't pack for the entire week. Pack for 2 days because as soon as the expo hall opens, that t-shirts, vendors are giving
Oh
out
right.
t-shirts
Hmm.
left, right, and center. So you'll go home with more t-shirts that'll last you, you know, 3 months or longer. So I had that was one of the first tips I learned when I first attended TechEd. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna take a risk. I haven't done this before, but sure, fine. Everybody says don't pack, don't pack, don't pack,
Hmm.
and I did that. I just packed for a couple of days, really. And then the expo hall opened. I got a ton of T-shirts, and I was wearing them throughout the weeks.
That's funny. And
Yeah,
I'm horrible with the swag stuff.
yeah,
And because I don't like talking to people. I don't like engaging people if I don't want to talk to them. Like
true,
I don't want to be like, "Hey, can I have the pen?" Like I actually want to be like, "Hey, what's your stuff?" And so it takes me forever.
right.
And there's a lot of booths at my but this
Oh,
year some people have given me some tips of like you don't have to talk to people there, you can do some sneaking and snagging and whatever. I'm like I don't know about that, but we will see.
I
So
stopped taking T-shirts. Like I'll now lately I'll just grab maybe three or four that are really really good and the ones that I really really like.
mhm.
The rest of them I just like no 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 thanks. I've got enough. And plus my wife kills me when I come back with all this stuff. So,
That's funny.
but the little knickknack stuff is pretty cool. Like some what do you call those when you're trying to kill time and fidget stuff
Oh
and
yeah, like the fidget cube knockoffs and all
yeah,
that
things like that.
stuff.
And yeah, so anyways,
Yep.
yeah, pack light. And if you're
Pack.
into swag, pack an empty you know an empty bag in your suitcase, and so you can have that. And remember, you're gonna get a backpack too from Ignite as part of your registration. So you
Yep.
got that to pack to bring back.
I, I'm bringing a radio flyer wagon with me to load up all the swag that I'm going to bring.
Aha,
Because I'll be driving, and so I can just put everything in my
that's
trunk.
pretty easy. Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I don't have to worry about bags and all that.
nothing. Yeah.
Yep.
So all right. And I think that's about all I have for today, actually. So,
Cool.
and I guess we'll come back in a few days with another tip, maybe transportation, those kind of things. We'll figure something out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Cool, dude.
So until next time, I'm Harjit, and you'll find me on Twitter as Hoorge, Hoorge.
I'm Prayer. You can find me on Twitter, and that alias is the IT Jedi.
Cheers.
Later.
Fork, fork, fork.